don't say anything that you don't want broadcasted on the internet. You know, it's like, I heard.
There's always like a little bit of a thing.
Yeah, it's.
What did you hear?
So I heard that. Oh, sorry. We're on YouTube. I can't. Nope. Can't reveal any secrets on. That's for the after show. If you want to hear any of the gossip, for all you listeners out there, if you want to hear the gossip, donate to MLVC via Venmo, and we'll let you hear the after show. Jason, I have literally no idea who's going to be joining us on a Saturday afternoon, so we'll just get started. Does that sound okay for you?
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Madonna, forever. Madonna, forever. Madonna, forever. Madonna, forever.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica Ciccone. As you know, and I'm just going to keep saying it until the tour's over, I'm your unofficial Celebration Tour correspondent, Stefan. Today on the show, we have one of MLVC podcast's resident hairstylists, Jason Lee, who attended last night's Celebration Tour performance in Toronto. Welcome back to the show, Jason.
Thank you. How's it going?
Good. Well, that's my question for you. How are you doing today? Because you've not only done last night's show, you did the night before. So you must have a little bit of celebration malaise.
I'm a little tired, so, I may say things or I may not be able to say things in full sentences today.
That's fine. We'll walk you through it.
Yeah, I had to get up pretty, normal time for me, but a little bit earlier to get to work today after the 2 nights. So I'm just kind of dragging along here, but we'll get through this.
Right. I was going to say, unlike Madonna, you don't have off today. You had to work.
Yeah, today I did, yeah.
Well, so first tell me what...
But do you think she actually has time off after this? Like, don't you think that she's got we could talk about this afterwards, but I'm so fascinated to think about what her day would be like. Because it's not like she just does the show. Like, I'm sure there's a million things leading up to the show.
Right. I mean, she's an empire. I can't imagine that it's like she just sleeps in the day after a tour. You know what I mean?
Do you think she watches The Housewives?
I don't think she watches any television. Maybe it's peripheral, like on in the background or something. Right. Like when she's getting hair and makeup done. But I'm like, I assume she's got so many hair, makeup, facials, body.
Have you seen her roots?
Well, but no, you know what I mean.
Wild.
She's I assume maybe she's got body work stuff going on. Every day. I assume it's every day. She's probably got deep tissue. Well, not every day for deep tissue, but you know what I mean? She must have that type of stuff.
I think it's more just meetings and stuff that's coming at her and, whatever, she would have to be prepping for whatever is coming after this. I'm sure the fall school season for the twins, right. Just setting it up for their private school, whatever it is. But also just having to deal with, and also imagine the amount of people that are on this tour. Somebody has something that comes up or whatever happens here or there, she's got to deal with that.
Well, right. I'm endlessly fascinated to know, when she's traveling, because as you know, from the Girly Show reunion, the cast of Girly Show, they had said on the plane to the next city, they were all required to watch the last night's show. And they had to, to analyze sort of what sports players do, after a game, they watch their game. What did they do? How did they perform? Blah, blah, blah. So they know how to fix it or make it better for next time. And I wonder if she does that stuff, for her personally, or if it's just she's watching it for other people, I saw a video clip from Toronto's first night, and during Holiday, the black overcoat, that silk black overcoat, which I would love to just wear around Philadelphia,
the house.
and Philadelphia, just walking down Broad Street. It got caught on the little skirt that she wears, and she was she was trying to open the coat at the one moment and it wouldn't open. It drew her attention for 1 second and she looked down and then she started to like, I think she just tried to like pull it off, but then the whole skirt moved and I was like, oh, I'm like, what's going to happen here? You know, like,
I feel as though there was a moment, and I don't know if it was a story or if I actually remember seeing it, but back in Drowned World tour when she had that giant kimono during Frozen, and maybe Marlene told this story once. I can't remember what it was in an interview, but like it got caught in something, and I just remember thinking, "Oh God, that would have been a nightmare." Like somebody
would have had to go up and yank it off of her. You know?
Yeah,
I know. I mean, I don't like when stuff like that happens because obviously it's not the intention, but I live for the unexpected moments like that. No, I mean, we could hypothesize all day about like, because I'm endlessly fascinated to know, like, what does she do like immediately after the show? Is she just like it? Because she must be so up and high, you know, like after, if you've ever run a marathon, and trust me, I have only done a 5K, which I do not consider a marathon, but like
very impressive.
You've still got a little bit of like that. That runner's high. And I assume after a tour, she must have so much adrenaline. She can't just like shut down and go to sleep.
Well, if she was anything like me yesterday, she would have gone home and eaten and like a pizza and a sandwich. So maybe she's doing that.
Is it bulking season, Jason?
No, we're back in shredding season. Anyway,
I was going to say you're shredding for the tour, right? Yeah,
this is an endless conversation between Stefan and I. It's whatever. It's a sidebar. Don't worry. Let's get back to the show. First for the Toronto show.
You look amazing. Congrats on the haircut. You were.
Thank
you. For those of you who don't know, Jason had a perm all of last year, and now he's gone the girly show route, and he's shaved his head. He's Buzz Haley. And looking very buff. Congrats on your gym membership, and your trainer's paying off. So good for you.
Thank you.
What merchandise is that? That does not look like can you move some of the rosaries?
Oh, this is an unofficial eBay purchase. I don't know from where.
I love it though. Looks okay. So it's
thank you.
It's first album photography with
like some kind of random.
It's that beautiful picture of her like grabbing her hair from the first album with all those jelly bracelets. FYI, I'm narrating this because some people will be listening to this after the fact.
Thank you.
And then, yes, you've got a plethora of rosaries. And are those Maripol? Are those official? Maripol?
No, those were $50. Like that's
okay. That's what I was gonna say.
This was like $8 on Amazon. No, I'm a when it comes to tours, I'm a big cosplay Madonna fan. So I love early Madonna. I'm a Virgin Tour era junkie, and so I always try to go as early Madonna, but kind of hot in a way. Like that's my vibe.
Yes, you did. You were like light and dark for these 2 nights in Toronto. So you were light. Airy, all white, very virginal,
Virgin Tour. Virgin Tour.
Very opposite your normal behavior. Wink, wink, wink. This is our stupid kiki. Jason and I have way too many messages back and forth to each other constantly all day long about stupid things that we just come up like. You mentioned your assistant, and like just literally before we were coming on the show, Jason mentions his assistant. Well, I had to ask my assistant for this, and I was like, "Oh, your assistant, Melissa," and without a beat, Jason knew
instantly.
I meant
Melissa Crow
from Truth or Dare. I think so. Yeah. Anyway, so Jason was at Toronto both nights.
Yes.
You were. Where were your seats?
Okay. So no.
This isn't starting out good.
No. And sorry, I really need to. I'm very grateful that I was in the Danceteria pit both nights. The was because, and I can't remember if it was you, Stefan, who said it. I think it was you. It was just like, I don't know why I bought the same pits for every show. Like that was the dumbest move on my part.
I didn't say it was dumb. I just said
I said it was dumb. You were just like maybe wait.
Well, my general rule of thumb is I because we buy the tickets before the show opens,
Right,
you never
right.
quite know where she's going to be the most time. Like, is she going to spend a lot of time here or there? So whenever I buy multiple tickets, I'm always like, let me move around a little bit just in case
No,
one
you're so
seat's
smart.
better than. Well, thanks.
I think that knowing a few Madonna fans, some of you guys are so smart the way you guys buy tickets. I have full Madonna anxiety when I'm buying, tickets. I don't know why, because I do go to a couple shows. And I also want to preface this by saying, like, I know I'm very lucky to be able to sit in the pits. It's just something that I work very hard for to be able to do. I think that's where I like to spend my money, because we're so lucky that she's still around doing this. And so I like to be close. It's just me. In any case, I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I liked it because it was called Danceteria. And I was thinking, that's...
But it's funny you say that.
Marketing. That's just marketing,
I literally, when those tickets were going on sale, I wanted to get Danceteria Pit instead of Sound Factory Pit.
Yeah.
And I was unable to, because when I was trying to get tickets to DC, the only tickets that were available was Sound Factory. And so, but I was initially disappointed, because I'm like, oh crap. Because I never went to Danceteria. I had gone to Sound Factory.
Exactly.
I had gone to Sound Factory. So I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, let me get the Danceteria tickets because I've never been to Danceteria. And then I got Sound Factory and I was like, eh.
I would like to talk to the person, and maybe it's Madonna, who came up with the idea of calling that Danceteria. I'm thinking early era. Yet you're going to do Into the Groove and Open Your Heart in Sound Factory. Now that's a disconnect, and I'm sure everybody agrees with me. I'm totally kidding. But
no, you're so right. These are the things that we think about.
There's certain details. When you're this, I call myself having a PhD in Madonna, but when you have this level, no, because we all know there are the crazies, and we love everyone. But I feel like I'm very well
adjusted,
as a lot of us are.
Researched.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And I really felt like that Danceteria was going to give me that era, and because I'm a Virgin Tour fanatic, that's why I did that. And it was stupid. Yeah. So yesterday and the night before.
So you weren't, because I know you were trying to switch one of the nights.
So
Ticketmaster wasn't having it, were they?
It's definitely a no. And listen, I'm pretty convincing, and I'm pretty good at getting my way. I wonder where I learned that from. And yeah, they were not going to budge. So,
did you try in person as well?
Yeah, 1,000%. I called. I did everything I could. I went to different customers. I mean, listen, yet again, I'm complaining about something that's really not that big of a deal, considering how life is these days.
Champagne problems, Jason.
Yeah. In any case, yes, they won't. Anybody who's listening, if you're trying to move anything around, they won't do it for you. Under VIP. So if you're in a VIP situation, that's what they said. That is not, because I guess it's all written down or whatever.
I see. Yeah. Well, but that's weird though, because so we spoke to Matthews just yesterday, and they moved him into the pit. So obviously they have space,
Also, there was space night one in Sound Factory. So, and I knew that because I was looking,
you were counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 20 people.
Let's just say I do have a lot of better things to be doing with my time, but this is a Madonna era and a Madonna moment, so I'm happy to be checking on Ticketmaster every 2 seconds.
Well, okay, so now tell me, what is, because people are probably wondering, why do you care?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the point? Why did you want to be in Sound Factory over Danceteria? What does it matter?
Well, I feel listen, Open Your Heart is not just my own, but it's probably my favorite Madonna song. That and Borderline. I feel as though the way that she staged Open Your Heart is it touches upon all the symbolism that we saw growing up. I mean, I'm sure myself and many other people listening that, the first time I saw the Open Your Heart video at, the tender age of whatever I was, I don't know.
45.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter how old I was. It touched something. It was like the innocence. It was, are you reading that book? You are reading the book, the Madonna book. It's so good because she really kind of breaks down the Open Your Heart video and the innocence and sexuality.
Jason is talking about the Mary Gabriel book, A Rebel Life.
Yes, thank you.
Now in paperback, I believe.
I do the I
audiobook.
listen to it audiobook. So
Who is reading the audiobook for that?
I'm sure. Listen, again, I'm probably on 4 hours of sleep right now, so I can't give you those references. But
It's not Michelle. It's not
great.
Michelle Williams.
No, I don't. No, that was Britney Spears, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm kidding. Well, I didn't know. I thought maybe Michelle Williams was just starting to read
She's just doing all the pop stars,
pop icons. You know.
Also, for anybody listening, Stefan and I are both Geminis, and so this conversation can become very chaotic, and it's going to go all over the place. So let's try to.
That's such a
bring
good.
this down.
Let's center. I know we're very
Yes.
like.
Yes,
It's like
let's bring it all back down.
We've all just like done like a line in the bathroom or something.
I'm on 4 hours of sleep. I was in a K-hole yesterday. I'm just trying to bring. I'm kidding.
Well, and because you were making me wait, I had some apple cake, so I'm sugar. I have a little bit of a sugar high.
I love apple cake.
Unlike you, I don't have a trainer to listen to. You know, like no trainer's gonna like when I walk into the gym, nobody's gonna be like, shame on you for eating an apple cake.
Yeah, that just happens in my mind. Okay, so I really want to see Open Your Heart close up. I listen. It's a great. I already have a great view. I just think it's such a special moment. I want her after burning up. Maybe is this a spoiler-free situation? Yeah, I want her to douse me with her.
Yeah. I gotta say, I thought I was gonna. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy that. And when she like hosed us down with the beer bottle, I was like, okay, that was kind of fun. I like normally when I see stuff like that, in concert, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't be into that. Cut to me and DC, and she was about to do it. And I was like, oh, Madonna's gonna get us wet, and I like crammed myself up front.
Is it weird that I'm thinking like there's a bit of DNA in there? Like, you know, just like
we like somebody walks up with like a glass.
Ourselves,
We're like trying to get the water so that way we can like make mini Madonnas. You know, like she's with us forever.
Great. Now she's going to stop doing it. She's going to.
Oh, right. Imagine. Oh, I know. People would totally sell that.
Sell it? Yeah. Well, I'm just.
People would sell that water. Like, this is Madonna's spit, and they would sell it like in a vial or something.
No, they would sell it, and who would be the idiots to buy it? That dude me. You know what I'm saying?
You wear it a little necklace.
Yeah. Again, I'm not that Madonna fan. I am not. I'm well researched.
I was gonna say, what's in those the rosary beads that you've got? Are they all
strands of her hair?
So Jason, just to clarify, those rosaries, that's not one of the ones that Bob throws out.
Are you crazy? I'm not. I'm in. I've just finished saying I'm in South. Oh, no, I'm in.
Well, I didn't know. Maybe you were bartering in the parking lot after the show.
True. That's very true. No, these are. And everybody asks where I get all my crucifixes from, and they're from Chinatown.
Oh, nice. So they're like it's. Yeah. So see, you conserve costs on outfits and styling because look, obviously, clearly you've got no hair maintenance. You know, like it's a buzzed hair, so you don't even have to shampoo. So you've saved money there. It's an Etsy T-shirt. I mean, how much was that? $10.
Right.
You know, like
right.
And Chinatown. I mean, they're just giving those away. You know.
Listen, one thing that she's taught us, or at least taught me, is that as an artist, you know, I mean, I'm all about the details, and so like I like to pull different things. I love seeing all the Madonna wannabes walking around the arenas. I don't know. Have you seen a lot of those? I mean, there were a lot in Toronto. There were a lot of.
There actually, I think that Toronto, I think was the most I've seen. In fact, I've started investigating. I haven't done it yet, but I've started investigating getting Desperately Seeking Susan replica jacket made for me.
They have it. They have it on. Not that I've seen it, but no, they have. I'm kidding.
They do.
I totally researched it.
And one of the girls, one of the women on Etsy who makes them. She upcycles old jackets.
Oh, cool.
One of the women who bought from her was at the show on the first Toronto night. I was like, oh, there you go. Yeah. It looks pretty good. I gotta say.
I feel like it's so cool when everybody's dressing up as her. I think it's great, and I'm here for it. So
what did you see?
Up my game.
What did you see?
There's a lot of Blonde Ambition, which I think is fun. A lot of cone. I don't even know where you would get these cone things from.
I don't either. I don't. People are thrifty. I gotta say, like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like also a lot of Blonde Ambition, a lot of 80s, a lot of. But I think let's just be real. I think a lot of the people who haven't left. Like there was no progression since then. They're just doing the same thing since the 80s, which I'm here for as well. Okay, let's get back to the
I don't even know where we are.
I don't know either.
Well, so Toronto was not your first time seeing the show. You had flown to opening night in London, and you had seen, what other shows have you seen so far? You've seen, I think, every Brooklyn show, or?
No, I went to Brooklyn. So London obviously was amazing because it was opening night and I knew nothing, and I kind of blocked everybody. Like I muted everybody on social media.
Yeah,
so
you were telling me to shut the fuck up left and right.
And then the crowd was okay. I feel like it was a little bit quiet. And then, and also like we talked about this, like this was the first time after the whole, incident in the summer. I was just like, we should all be, bawling our eyes out. In any case, and then Brooklyn was wild. It was such a great vibe because people, New York, everybody's just like,
that was the first North American.
It was the first night.
Right?
That's right. Yes. And so the energy was amazing and she loved being there. You could tell. And then Toronto, I will say I'm very proud. I'm based in Toronto, and I'm very proud. We did her good because, and especially night one, the crowd was amazing. Crowd two was equally as good. I mean, I think it was just different energy. I think she was in a different kind of maybe mindset or whatever. So let's get back to it. It was something that's really interesting that was fun. And I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure I think I messaged you about it. She comes out and right when she does everybody and she says like New York subway, she goes something like, "Hello, Boston." And then she goes, basically, she does what she does, which is like, "Whoops, Toronto," sort of thing. And I love it so much.
I wonder if like the guys at the sound booth are like in her ear, being like, "It's Toronto, it's Toronto."
Oh,
like they have to be like.
Have you seen what goes on inside somebody's headset, like on a tour? It's like clicks, and it's like counting in, it's lines, and then it's like direction basically. And for sure. But the thing is, what I love when she does that is like right afterwards, she kind of walks towards the back and she just kind of fell over laughing. Like she just bent over laughing. And I love when she kind of breaks that character for a second.
Yeah.
It almost like set the tone of the night because she was very funny. So she does everybody. She goes up to do Burning Up. And I apologize to anybody who doesn't know the set list, but if you don't know the set list, don't listen to this.
If people don't know by now,
what if they just happen to come upon this on YouTube? Like, anyways, whatever.
Well, I mean, look, and that's true. So if you're listening, spoilers are abounding here.
Yes, sorry. That's why they're tuning in. So let's get into detail.
Let's give them what they're here for.
Okay. So she goes. I don't want to say this wrong, and I'm going to because I'm exhausted.
You're paraphrasing. It's fine.
Yeah. She said something along the lines of, "Sorry for calling you guys Boston. Me calling you Boston is something like you guys calling me Lady Gaga." She brought that back up again, and the crowd. Oh, it was great. And people were laughing. She was laughing. Like she did that laugh, that kind of cackle when she kind of kicks her head back. And then she said, she goes, "I'm just kidding. I love Lady Gaga." Honestly, like she was quick to clear that up because
sure. Well, because I was going to say that's the unfair thing for her is that people then just take her stuff out of context.
She's so smart. She's
only post forever. The little clip,
Well, of course. And exactly. So she immediately changed it. And then she goes, "I love anybody who's shorter than I am." She loves that, and it's so funny, and it was like really quintessential Madonna in that moment, and it was so live, and it was so of the moment. It was great. So that really was the tone of the evening.
That's the one thing I think the few times that I've seen the show that I've really appreciated the most is that when she's talking and she's being personable and you're hearing what she's saying, I was thinking, I'm like, see, that's what we haven't gotten since Madame X on her socials. Like on her social media, she's been so curated and so like it's performance that she's been putting on, whether it be those Photoshop photos that she does, or any of those videos that Ricardo edits for her. So it's fun to just see her being her, you know, like there's no artifice, there's no walls, there's no editing.
Yeah. It's
her.
It's so interesting. So my assistant, Nina, who is she's, I don't know how old she is. She's in her early 20s. Her
God
mom,
bless her.
I know, and she's the best. I love Nina. And so her mom loves Madonna. In fact, her mom said something like, "How are you going to the show? You don't even know what Jimmy is." In any case, you know, Jimmy's always going to come up somewhere. In any case, so Nina, like, she loves Madonna. We play her all the time in the salon, but she went yesterday and she's a fan now, which is amazing. And she's just like, wow. But I guess what I'm getting at is, and I was thinking about this before doing this, because I can go on about what my favorite moments are of the show. I think my real takeaway from this is people who haven't seen her live before. Also, there are people who might be older who have developed this weird, it's kind of like anything when you get older. If you leave something alone for a while, it just turns into a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and so I know a lot of people who like, I loved Madonna in the 80s, and then just completely just turned their backs on her and just started saying, oh, she's old in her face and all this stuff. Completely messaging me this, you know, today or even last night going, forget everything I've said to you over the last 10 years. This woman is a legend. And so there's that I'll put on the table. We can come back to that. But also what Nina was saying that I really loved was she just like, I didn't realize how funny she was. And I didn't realize how like you saw her. And that's what's so great about the show. For those of us who saw Madam X, you knew that she was kind of touching in on a little bit of that because she would be more personal. She'd have more conversations. And we got a chance to see that side of her. But for a big, arena tour,
right?
This was people who hadn't seen it for a long time because they want the greatest hits to be able to see that. And I think a lot of people were saying how great she was. My niece, who's 14 years old, went with my sister-in-law, and she's just like, she's a big Swiftie. And I messaged her and I was like, you do realize this woman paved the way for all of you. And she's just like, she's so talented. So it's nice to see, fresh eyes, whether it's been a while or if it's actually fresh, to see how great this woman is. And they're really just like taken aback by what she's gone through. We have to remember, as in listening to that book, that you forget maybe you don't forget, but like you do forget all the details of how much shit she's had to put up with over the years. And still coming out being grateful and laughing at the end is pretty impressive in my book.
Well, I mean, I think at this point in her career, she's been doing it for so long. She has to, like, it's a survival method, she would not, if she allowed the system, the entertainment industry, whatever, it would have broken her if she let it get to her. I think there's the examples of, you see people who are able to rise above it, someone like Madonna, where, I mean, she's still affected by things, but she's been able to get through it because she's just like, you know what? I don't care. I don't give a shit. But then there's the opposite, like there's people who are, I mean, look at poor Britney Spears. Like, she's done, like she doesn't want to have anything to do with the music industry anymore.
Right. And that's exactly what Nina took away from it, was she just like, she took her anger, Madonna took her anger and did something with it. As opposed to somebody who just like wallows in and it comes back at them. So I just love, because we're so, you and I are so, and so many people who are listening to this we're so in it. Like, we know so much about the details and so much information that we forget. I haven't had that perspective in a long time. I just know what she means to me, but to hear other people who have gone to see her after such a long time, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, there's the thing I love about this tour is that it's a lot of people are going who have never seen her before.
That's right.
And
how is that even possible?
I'm like, why is it taking you 40 years to see Madonna?
But also, like, I thought, I mean, okay, go on. We get what we're saying.
No. But I just like, yes, that's baffling to me, because I'm just like, you've missed so much greatness. But I love that they're finally going, and that they're understanding sort of now why me or any Madonna fan makes a big deal out of it,
and that totally,
they get it.
And I'm kind of touching upon it. I don't want to break it down or anything, but I do think that there's different levels of like fandom towards it. I think that's also interesting to see. It's fascinating. I feel very fortunate to be able to see her as often as I'm getting to see her, and I'm very happy with the amount that I'm seeing. I don't need to see, well, I would. Let's be real. I would. I'm already thinking about going to Montreal, but I don't know.
I was going to say, what other shows are you seeing?
Right now, I just have Madison Square Garden because I need to see her at Madison Square Garden. I think they're very special shows. I'm seeing her at the end of the month, and then we'll see.
So as we've talked about on the not you and I, but like we've mentioned it on the show. I kind of feel like I might need to see her towards the end of the North American run.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Unless, and the only reason it might not happen, the only way is if between now and maybe the next month or so, she announces like a South American run. Then I might be like, you know what? I will skip the rest of North America and go and see if I, see her in Brazil or something. Although I can only imagine how much of a challenge it would be to get those tickets. Like that's going to be impossible.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it would actually behoove me to just go see the show. Like I'm thinking of getting a ticket in Austin so I can meet Liberty in person. And we can like hang out. That would be far easier than going and battling the Brazilians, and trying to get,
Would it be so bad?
I was going to say that actually doesn't sound like a bad Saturday night to me, well, we'll see. We'll see.
So off the rails here.
But going back to the people who have not seen her and are seeing her, I mean, I've known also people who, one of my old bosses, her and her husband, they went in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Her husband was so excited. They're coming to Philly. So I'm finally getting to meet my old boss for the first time in person because we were only virtual. We're gonna meet in Philadelphia. So it's but I love that they loved it that much,
That's right. Sorry, and again, I keep bringing up Nina because I'm just so happy that she's like into this. She wants to go back to another one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of wild that, I don't know. It's just interesting because a live performance isn't maybe let's just think about other bands. I'm sure, people follow the Grateful Dead or like, Fish, like all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe, but I'm just saying like, I just think it's so powerful that at 65 years old, that this woman can still do that. It's because it's literally when she walks into a room, it's like the energy changes. I mean, it's exhausting watching her show too. Like how she feels. It's like we had to work out.
But see, that's the difference is we are expending the energy.
Oh, good.
She is receiving the energy.
Sure.
So
her,
that's why I'm saying, like after the tour finishes that night, she is on a cloud. Like it must take her. And again, sorry to beat a dead horse, listeners, but as we all know, I danced on stage with Madonna, and that was one of the things that I was like,
did you?
Yeah. What? When did you dance on stage with
shocked.
her? I've never heard that story, Stefan. Yeah. But the thing that shut up. The thing that I always remember is the energy was coming at me because it was coming. Obviously, everyone was sending it to Madonna. They were not sending it to me, but like I was thankfully right next to her, so I was able to receive it, and it was like a wind. It was I
feel as though
back energy.
That was Rebel Heart.
2015,
yeah. I feel as though people were very excited for the people. So you were getting what you're talking about.
I mean,
I know what you're getting at. I'm just saying, like, I mean, I've never been in that situation, so I think that's super cool.
But like because of that, I was unable. I thought, I'll be able to go. I thought I'll be able to go to sleep, and because I had to wake up early the next day, I couldn't go to bed till like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like it took me like 5-6 hours to finally come down, and then I was exhausted. But even still, I was still wired. Even the next day, I was like, I can't believe it.
That has a lot to do with the fact that Madonna brought you up on stage.
Of course.
I think even if the room was completely empty, you'd probably be having a hard time falling asleep after. But yeah, and during Madame X, I did get one of the Polaroids. And
Did
I
you?
know,
Why don't I
did I
remember?
never tell you this?
I don't know if you did.
Maybe. There's a lot of secret
Oh,
stuff. There's a lot of secret
wow.
stuff.
Why have you never shown me that? You've never shown me the
Because
Polaroid?
it's like peeling back an onion. You know what I mean? There are many, many layers here.
You know she said that, right?
Of course. Where do you think I
Okay.
get half of my vocabulary from?
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, I posted that speech. I was gonna say, I'm like, that's exactly what she said in the speech. It's like an onion. You pull back the layers, and then you get the flavor.
I am. You can tell I'm actually exhausted here.
You are a bit delirious.
it should-
I actually
it
like
should-
it though.
I know, it should be-
You're
I know,
usually
I know.
very more reserved.
Controlled. I'm the controlled Madonna in the primetime interview.
Yes, you are. You're very like sort of like docile, and
So yes.
I like this loony version of you. It's kind of nice.
This is what happens. It's kind of like what happens after I have a drink. In any case, what were we talking about? Oh, yes, the Polaroid. Sorry.
Polaroid,
and
yeah.
All I know is like
What city did you get it in?
Brooklyn.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay.
And I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. Like the day of, I'm like, I'm going to go take out as much money as I can from an ATM. My friends had to take out money because I'm Canadian.
God.
In Brooklyn. They were lending me and I'm like, I'm just going to go in with a stack of cash. I don't care what this takes. This is going to happen. And I had all these versions of myself of what I was going to say to her because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to thank her for everything. Just like thank her for getting me through life. And then when I got there, I thought to myself, I'm like, if you're going to speak to this woman, you should speak like a normal human being and just have a conversation. Because if you can speak to her in my life, like maybe this doesn't apply to other people, but if you can speak to her, you'll be able to speak to anybody in life. And I did, and it was just a very normal conversation. And I got my Polaroid, and
what did
so
you
to the
say
same
to her?
point of
What did you say to her?
I don't even remember, honestly. It was just like a conversation. She made some kind of jokes towards me back and forth, something about Bruce Lee. I said, hi, I'm Jason Lee. She's like, are you related to Bruce Lee? Which, maybe
Madonna.
Post-pandemic, that might not fly in the same way, but it was kind of funny. Like, I thought it was actually funny. And she laughed, and she was just really sweet, and
because she normally wasn't to the Polaroid people. Like there was a bunch of Polaroid people I saw because I went to like 6 or 7 shows, and she was not nice to them.
And that's what I didn't want, right? So like, we are not even talking about the Toronto show anymore. We're just like, going.
Where have we gone?
But I knew
if you're just tuning into MLVC Live, Jason Lee is our guest today. He actually went to both Toronto shows. We barely touched on Toronto at all, but no.
And he's exhausted. He's just saying
yeah. Jason's he's existing on about 4 hours of sleep, but he's a trooper.
I didn't. It's like when you go up to a lion and you just don't want to like show fear. So I just wanted to go in and like just be cool, and I feel like it worked. But I still want to have a moment.
No, but you're so right. In fact, that's exactly what I wanted to do to her when I was on stage. And she was like, she asked me, she's like, were you nervous doing that? And in my head, I was like, just fuck with her. Don't give her the answer of like, yes, I was so nervous. Cause I was like, don't give her that. And I was like, and so I was just like, no. And I could see her eyes shift just slightly where she was like,
she has to think.
She was not expecting me to say no and be so confident. Like I sold that. I was like, no. And she was puzzled by it. And I could see her having to, and her, God bless her mind spins and turns over.
That's what I'm talking about.
It is so quick how fast she works.
I totally made her work because I didn't gush to her. And she was having to come up with like jokes at the moment, and I could watch her, and she was paying attention as opposed to just being like, I love you, which I do. But and I also think, again, bringing this back up, Gemini Leo situation, right? Like all of my very close friends are Leos, and I know how to manage a Leo, if you know what I'm saying. So. And her dad's a Leo.
Good advice. Good advice on that. No, because it's true. Like if you give her the adoration, it's like Letterman. Like anytime that she was on David Letterman, Letterman would not kiss her ass, and she actually had to work at that interview. Like when he was finally nice to her, she didn't know what to do with it.
I think we should write a book. Follow up to Rebel. Is it Rebel Life? Rebel Hearts? Rebel Life? And like
chatting about it's far more fun.
Okay, but how to talk to Madonna?
Right. How to talk.
My strategy.
We'll do like a little pamphlet or something. Just pass it out.
10 tips.
Yeah. Wait,
TikTok.
so
we'll
you
just do a TikTok.
would you go see another show after MSG, or you're?
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, it just depends. Like, I have to, let's be real.
Well, it's expensive. I mean, it's not cheap.
It's expensive, and I got to get back to my life. So, this has been a bit of a I need to get back to things.
It is that, take the trip, eat the cake, buy the Madonna ticket,
Here's what I will say is, yesterday I tried my best not to take any photos. Like, I really tried hard to just
enjoy.
Here's this living legend, 4 feet away. You always forget how tiny she is. And I was just really trying to, who knows, as we've had this conversation. See, I'm bringing it back down. Who knows where this is going to go, what's going to happen. And I just think, at least at some point, try to enjoy the fact that she's there in front of you, which I guess people are doing, but I was like this the whole time, the first few times.
Yeah, I tried at the DC show because, when you're in the pit, she's in front of you so much. And I was like, okay, I wanted to record some really beautiful footage just to have it, just so I could have it.
Totally, and 1,000%.
But at the same time, I also wanted to make sure that I was like, just watch her, just stare and appreciate that she's in front of you. And so I hear you. You'll be in Danceteria for MSG?
No, so I didn't buy tickets. MSG was just like an add-on, and so I actually bought tickets right in front of where she does Burning Up, like the front row.
Oh,
in front
fun!
Of Burning
Oh,
Up.
Great.
Yeah, and it's not where she throws the water, but
she spits there. That's where she spits.
Please.
So she spits. She spits to the front, and then she hoses down in the pit. So
I'll bring a Ziploc. Try to catch it.
You took a little bit of time between Brooklyn and Toronto. What did you love the switch from Rain to Frozen?
Yeah, I did. I actually think it makes a lot more sense. I feel like we all thought it was going to happen just because of the visuals.
Yeah,
I did like the fact that obviously I love Rain, and I love that she used the backdrop during Rain. Like, I thought that was also really interesting. And let me tell a story about Rain, and I posted on my Instagram. I think I told you. The best ever was like Rain during Brooklyn. We were Danceteria, and there's a guy in front of you with the wind. And remind me to tell you a Die Another Day story afterwards. And she comes over, and like the wind and the cape and it's supposed to all go blowing, and the guy's like pointing at her legs. And she's like, you can see she's getting fucking pissed. And she kind of bends down, and nobody, unless you're like right in front of her, because she kind of covered herself with the cape. She kind of looked at me and she's like, fucking pointed at my hair. And she was giving him shit. It was amazing. It was so funny. And then she got back up and she smiled and she sang. It was like the good old days.
You sent me that video. Didn't you send me that?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm like, where did I see that? I know I saw that.
I know. It's like, and it really was just like, I happened to be in front of the fan guy and I just saw her do it. I was like, oh,
because she took the microphone away from her mouth. So it wasn't over the speakers, but because you were right next to her,
I saw her do it to him.
You could pick it up. And she was like, you have to point it at my head.
Yeah. But it was like death. Like she was like, gonna kill me.
But then she smiled.
And then she smiled and she carried it on like a professional.
Yeah. So do you like that Frozen is now in the show? I mean,
yeah, I like it. Do you like it?
The reason I say that is because I think I've not seen Frozen live. I've only seen Rain.
Okay.
I liked Rain where it was, even just because she had never done Rain in so long, like
1,000%
girly show, and then we hadn't heard it again. So
deep cut.
And I think Frozen, and I mean, as much as I love Frozen, because I love Frozen, like Frozen, her Frozen renditions on all of her tours have been amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when Frozen wasn't on the set list, a lot of people had told me, they're like, well, she did such an iconic version at Madame X. It's okay that it's not on Celebration. And I kind of agreed because I thought,
yeah, sure,
it's true.
Sure.
You're like, that version of Frozen on Madame X was so like breathtaking with her and Lola.
No, that was probably one of her most incredible performances. I think it was also Damien Jallet too, who did the choreo for that.
I think so. But it's like,
I think so.
I mean, of all time, you know, like it's just like
no, it's one of my favorite moments.
And we used to say that it's like because of like the only reason why it was so amazing was because of life, like the fact that it was her daughter. And her, the symbolism of what it meant for the two of them, and it was perfect.
But do you not take that? Okay, listen, maybe it's just me seeing this, although I feel as though I've heard other people say this too. Don't you feel that moment at Rain and Frozen with the cape, it's kind of symbolic of her death? Do you not get that from the show?
Oh, here's I didn't think about that.
For my take is like Bedtime Stories, Ray of Light is future Madonna, right?
Yes.
And kind of like the iconic universal. And then it's kind of like this moment where it's very grounding and it's like this dark cape and she kind of gets swallowed up. It's kind of like Mergirl, you know, like it's kind of got that vibe too. It's very earthy. And then she kind of, bitch, I'm Madonna. It's legendary. It's just like she'll live on forever as an artist. Listen, I could be reading to this way too much.
No. I love this. This is perfect because I had not thought about that. Like in terms of the messaging. In fact, that was probably one part. The last part of the show was probably the one part of the show that
why?
I was like, what's the message here? Because I sort of got it all the way up, and then I was like, from Bedtime Story to Ray of Light to Rain to the Michael Jackson tribute to Bitch I'm Madonna, I was like, that's the only weird part that's sort of like it's all over the place and doesn't have this one little line.
No, to me,
now
it's
that
like
you say
legacy.
that, yeah, I love that. I love that it's like this
is why this is my obsession with her, is because her work is so layered, and if you actually take some distance and look at it, because I know everybody was, and trust me too, when I saw Bitch I'm Madonna live for the first time, I'm just like, okay, now what's going to happen? The lights go on. But then when you look at it and you kind of break it down and try to understand, she's in different acts. And I feel as though Frozen makes sense, you know? I feel as though it's very ethereal. I actually really love that she goes Ray of Light into Frozen. I feel like that's such an era for me, you know, in the 90s when you would listen to that album and that feeling of that time. I don't know. I really, that's the thing too, like I love about this tour is that it's just such the way that the metaphors and everything that she kind of intertwines in, I think is so freaking cool.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think my only one tweak I would make if Madonna was like, Stefan, what's one thing you think I should change on the tour? You know, like if she just calls me up one day.
I'm sure it'll happen.
Of course. I'm waiting for that phone call. I think the only thing I would swap out would be the Michael Jackson tribute. I feel like that's the week out of everything in the entire show. That's the one thing, because I would just prefer it to be her. You know, like instead of Michael Jackson, just make it Madonna and have it just be like do a 10-minute medley with all the Madonnas that pop up for Bitch I'm Madonna, each of them doing a song that we didn't hear on the show already, and then Madonna in the Drunken Mary veil, whatever that is. Then she comes out, and then Bitch I'm Madonna, and then it ends, and then that's fun.
One of my friends who's a beauty editor, she saw it yesterday. She was a big Desperately Seeking Susan fan. She kind of fell off a little bit after that. And she saw it and she was just she liked it so much because she's just like, you know what? At that moment, she realized how many people Madonna has outlived. She didn't. So, you know, I think sometimes we're too close to all of this stuff, you and I. And I think I agree. Listen, would I love to be able to be the one to come up with the set list? Yeah. But it's just, you know, I really love her storytelling. And I was going to say one other thing, if I can, which is
at this point, I forgot we were recording. I'm like, oh wait, I'm like, what? Oh, we're live on YouTube, right?
Everybody's sleeping at home watching this. They fall asleep.
5 hours later, we're still going. It's like, what's happened?
I will say that one thing that I think is probably the coolest thing ever. She does a lot of Die Another Day with her eyes closed. So if you're up close,
you pointed this out. Yes,
all this shit, you know, that stuff. And she's got people coming in between her arms, her eyes are closed for not all of it. Like you'll see her eyes are open, but like especially when she's facing towards the screen and she's doing all this stuff, her eyes are closed, and she kind of put her head down during kind of like a musical break. And I saw her counting, like in dance, like there's counts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I saw her going like counting through the numbers. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if there was a counting, just the fact that she did it with her eyes closed and she's got to deal with all these arms.
Yes.
Like this woman.
So
genius.
you
Sorry.
mentioned that to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What? I'm like, not that I was trying to prove you wrong, but I went back to my footage at DC, and I was like, okay, because it's 4K footage, so I was like, I can zoom in and get like super close. And you were correct. She does. It is not the entire performance.
No, for sure. Right.
But there are moments where she closes her eyes and she sort of like puts her head down a little bit, as almost as if she's praying, and she's going through those wildly chaotic arm
but it's
movements.
So intricate also. Like it's so specific.
And I had to say to myself, I'm like, whoever choreographed that for her and with her is brilliant, because it is so layered in terms of like what that means to her, to us.
Let me add to this. Then, so I watched it again yesterday because I noticed it on the first night in Toronto. Then on the second night, I'm like, I'm going to really pay attention to this. And she says in Die Another Day, and again, please, I'm sorry, I do know the words to the song, but I'm not going to pull them out right now.
That's fine.
She says something about your senses. Like, you know that part where she says, my senses, or whatever it is? And I'm kind of like, wait a second. She says something about relying on your senses. And I'm like, wait a second. Are you doing this with your eyes closed to rely on your senses? Like, is she that fucking smart? No, come on. Is that really a thing?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. I mean,
it's
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, I think people can go in and just watch the show and be like, oh, there's a fun laser show during that number.
Right.
But then it's like, there's all these other things involved in it that it's like, okay, you know what? God bless her. Like, because I think, again, I've heard moments where people are like, oh, she's not really moving during Die Another Day.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. But I'm like, if you had cheap seats in the back and you couldn't tell that her eyes are closed, you know,
you're fine. Not get it.
She's not moving, but you're also not getting that portion of the show. So,
which is why I wanted to tell this story, because I feel
and I mean, I was in the pit, and again, I was focusing on trying to record that show. So I was like, when I was doing it, I had my phone and I was looking. Okay, I would just lock my arms so that the phone wouldn't move, and then that way I could like look at the show and then look at every now and again, look down, just make sure that I'm like not losing her, and then look back up and look back down. So I was not catching that her eyes were closed.
But it's also, listen, another thing too, sidebar, I have a bit of a background in dance. And so I was like, I'm watching this stuff, right? Like I'm looking at this stuff specifically, and I just happened to come upon it. It's not like the world is like, this is not the biggest detail. And I said to my partner, I'm just like, are her fucking eyes closed? And he's just like, yep. So
Jason,
anyways.
What type of dance?
I mean, I know the entire Virgin tour. I'm just kidding. No, I did take like jazz stuff back in the day. And did I tell the story about dancing for her at Hard Candy?
Yes. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So, I do have a bit of a background in dance. I never pursued it. I had a knee injury.
I'm seeing you in a pink leotard and a boombox.
Yeah, that's true. There's other stories. We'll save this for another day.
Okay. It's not your time to go, you know?
It's definitely not my time.
Okay. Well, I mean, we could keep going, but I know you've got you need to very Die Another Day appropriate. I need to lay down.
I definitely need to lie down.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, Jason. This has been great. I honestly had low expectations because you said how tired you were. You were like, "Oh, I'm exhausted. I don't know how I'm going to be able to make it through."
Yeah, and here we are.
Here we are doing almost an hour, and good on you.
Gosh. Oh my gosh,
Jason, tell everyone where they can find you on social.
Oh, do you want to find me on social?
Well, in case you post some jazz dance
like,
number reels but
no crazy DMs, okay? Jason Lee Hair at Jason Lee Hair.
You might get clients. You know, Jason does wonderful hair for people. And if you're in the Toronto area and you're having a hair emergency, you know.
Just stop sending me DMs about when is Madonna going to go on, because I don't know.
I get that all the time.
I know.
People are like, when is she going on? I'm like, oh no. I think the one question I get asked all the time is, what time should I get to the venue? And I'm like, you are asking the absolute wrong person. I'm like, I'm there before the doors open. Like, I'm in line outside of I'm waiting for the venue to open. That's when you should get there. You want to know when you should get there? Before they open, because I'm like, I need to be there to adjust to the energy of the stadium. Like, stadium energy like makes me kind of crazy, and there's so much going on where I'm like, I need to sort of like settle in as it's building. So like, if I get there when it's kind of empty, then I'm part of the growth of the energy, as opposed to like just walking into this wall of energy.
Into that
like,
wall of it. So
for me, the person that I like being there as the energy is building, because it's a slow, organic, like ease into it. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't get there any later than 9:00. You know, like I need to be in, like, I want to say hello to people and chat and take it in. There's so much great people watching at a Madonna show.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fun to like take pictures of the fans or just like say hi to people. And, so anyway,
but you know what I'm talking about. They do ask, and I'm like, that's
I thought you were going to say
they responsibility.
I thought you were going to say they sent you like D pics or something. I was going to be like, whoa, calm down, people. Let's not send Jason. I mean, maybe you're into that. I don't know, but like, don't send Jason Lee unwarranted D pics. Okay.
Have you ever seen the 4 minutes behind the scenes of making of a video?
Where are we going? Where are we going with this?
No, she's like so exhausted filming that video. She's like, and I kind of feel like this right now. I feel like I'm going delirious.
I was going to say, I'm like, what? I'm like, well, how does D-Pics fit into 4 minutes?
Let's wrap this up, Stefan.
I was going to say, here you go. Remember, everybody, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to this YouTube channel, tick that subscribe button so you never miss a video. We're going to be going live with more people as entertaining and wonderful as Jason through the rest of the duration of the celebration tour. And FYI, I might not be doing every night, so I apologize if I'm not doing your city. I work a day job, and I sometimes don't have the capacity to do every night. So I apologize. But anyway, that's our show. Jason, thanks for coming on and being a trooper. This was fun. We'll do it again. Maybe after you MSG or something. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
If you're not too exhausted. I don't know. Don't hang up. We're going to be actually say goodbye to all the folks, Jason. Say goodbye.
Goodbye all the folks.